Hey y'all, it's October 12th, around 10:45. It's Harrison. We're here for another check-in. Um, Here are my KPIs. So, as you can see, I didn't get too much focus time in today, which is pretty regretful. The main reason why is I went and got lunch with a friend, came back, and for some reason I was just extremely tired, so I took a humongous nap in the evening or in the afternoon. I woke up, kind of groggy, did some stuff, uh, you know, uh, wrote some code, didn't land any PRs, but wrote some code, got some, emails and stuff done in terms of thinking about the distribution plan. But other than that, I didn't really get too much done today, and that's not great. Tomorrow will be a huge grind day. If I don't get above 450 stocks tomorrow, then I'm doing something wrong because it is raining in New York, which means I probably won't go to the gym. And, that means I should have at least 9 hours of contiguous time where I'm just, grinding. So, uh, I am still feeling rather groggy right now, so I'm just going to go to bed early today as well. Um, but yeah, this is my check-in on the KPIs. Didn't really have too much here, which is not great. I guess right now there's currently another build that's archiving, and I will put it on test flight after that's done. But yeah, that's basically what happened today. Um, let's see. So I paused it because I wanted to quickly remember what I wanted to talk about in this video. And I guess I remember. And one of the things that I spoke with my friend at lunch today was sort of about, how people are generally more risk averse than you think. So, for reference, she also uh, works at a startup. Obviously, her startup has funding. She's not a founder, but she's a really early engineer. And I guess they've also been trying to hire engineers. I guess I can't say also. I would love to hire engineers, but I don't have any money. I basically want people to quit their jobs and to work with equity and build something with me. But that's a different value proposition than actually getting a salary and working at a startup. But apparently for her, it's been really hard for them to hire engineers, just because people are sort of not upfront with what they want out of the work trials and stuff like that. And I think like this is generally so like for example, one of the things that she said was like one of the people went and did a work trial with them. They're in some like AI thing. I don't apply to AI thing. I don't really remember, but did a work trial for like a week, and then like during that week, like at the end of the week, they were gonna give him an offer. They were excited that this person was joined, but then the guy said like, "Oh, he thinks he wants to work in climate tech," um, which is kind of crazy because like, okay, well maybe you should have just said that before the week of the work trial, right? Um, but I really don't think like thinking about that and reflecting on it, because I've also been on the side of doing work trial. Is I actually think like you probably just got cold feet in terms of wanting to work at a really small startup. Um, I think there's like basically, um, how do you say this? Um, I guess I basically think that like the actual like act of foregoing stability in whatever current job, or like looking for a role with like 50 plus employees already, and getting a paycheck after that because it should be theoretically more stable. I think that generally is something that a lot of the generation of engineers of people that I grew up in and I guess the social circles that I grew up in, or not grew up in, but that I've met while in big tech and stuff like that are probably just like substantially more risk averse. And I actually thought this was like a very uniquely my sort of like college experience thing. So what I mean by that is like I went to the University of Washington. I felt like the student body there was very much on the risk averse side. I didn't think there was a lot of like entrepreneurial innovation. I don't think I ever put myself out there a lot, and I think that's one thing I regret. But I also don't think I ever got the vibe that there was like people in my classes that I would have thought like are really energetic and like excited to go build something super new. They all were like, oh yeah, I interned at Microsoft as a high schooler, and like I've been interning at Microsoft for the past 3 years. After did my Explore internship, and then I intern again after I get a return offer, and I continue, and then you go work at Microsoft after the job. And I guess like I thought that was like a very University of Washington specific thing about the student body, just because of how direct admission works, and like the fact that the people that are really really out of band, probably that are from Washington probably go to like MIT or something, or Stanford. And I thought like these people are talented, but they're not top talented. Otherwise, they would have gone to those other schools. But like my friend goes to Berkeley, or went to Berkeley, and she's sort of finding the same thing. So I think it's actually not exactly a University of Washington specific thing. I think it's and like traditionally like you can also see like her friends are also working at like random startups and shit like that. But I actually think it's more just like the propensity to be like aligned with current moment, if that makes sense. So like the startups that a lot of these Berkeley kids are working at, for example, are like Databricks, or like small startups that have quote unquote clouded teams and stuff like that. And so I actually think like from the perspective of taking a job at one of those small companies, your equity probably will go to zero, just because most startups fail. Okay, let me take that back. Your equity will not probably go to zero, but your equity has a potential to go to zero. But even though that's the case, I actually don't think that that's like a risky move at all to go work at one of those companies, because you're working with really smart people, and the exit opportunity, just due to first and second order network, means that you will always have a job. And so I actually think like you can see this when you take a look at my previous coworkers, for example. A lot of them are like pretty senior engineers that joined like Facebook, for example, from like all these like Stanford, etc. And back when joining Facebook around then, that was not like that was basically like a startup. It was pre-IPO, for example, or maybe just after IPO, way before tech became this humongous dominating force that it is today. And I guess like there's always like questions about Facebook's profitability and stuff like that from the outside, mind you. And like the thing is like, suppose Facebook did fail, or suppose these companies that people like suppose it failed, right? Then I think like, and the equity went to zero. I think that these people, just off the virtue of like having worked there with a bunch of other people who are also well connected, meant that they would always be able to get in their job in the future. So I think the risk aversion here, and specifically, for my friend's case of trying to hire people, is specifically because joining them means that you're sacrificing your resume capital, if that makes sense. Or not really sacrificing it, but you are basically taking the risk that your resume capital doesn't build. And I think that's the actual risk there. Another way of framing it, and I know I've been sort of just saying this in a roundabout way, is that a lot of these people that go work at startups right now, I think, are actually not risk taking, because they will be able to get in their job because that team has validation. And I guess framing it that way, it kind of makes sense. I think I'm kind of an idiot for doing what I'm doing. Every day I think about opportunity cost, and I guess it does progressively make me more anxious day over day, because what I'm going to do in my life if this doesn't go anywhere and I have nothing to show for like a year. But like, I guess like I thought there were more risk takers in the world in terms of like being able to say, oh, let's just bet on this shit, and just like, foregoing personal resume capital, etc. But I guess after thinking about it, it kind of makes sense. Like, yeah, it's pretty reasonable. I don't really know what I'm saying. I think I'm just like, I learned like a new way to frame it today, or I just like thought about it, and I was like, I guess framing it like that makes sense. Because I guess like another thing is like I did like a few like casual rounds of interviews, and at every single one of these companies, minus like one of them, I interviewed like maybe 4 or 5 companies. People asked me, "Oh, do you know this person?" And I definitely knew that person. So I guess like, they say it's a small world like tech is a small world. Everyone knows each other. Well, this is definitely the case when I am what I'm learning about. And so like the fact that someone will join like a startup with like a really sort of like well-connected team, even if that product is probably not going to like succeed or whatever, is they're taking a risk only in the sense that equity might go to zero. They will still be able to get a job and have a baseline in the future. I think the failure mode of a super risky endeavor is like you have no baseline, which I think is also overestimated, because realistically I will not have no baseline if this folds. I should be able to get a job, but it is definitely more real. Like the opportunity cost is definitely more real. If you work at a startup and you like get up level, you start being a manager or whatever, and then the startup folds, I mean, you still were a people manager for a while, so it's possible that big tech would take you, etc. So yeah, I don't think that was insightful at all. I think I still have like jumbled thoughts about it in my brain, trying to piece together, just because I know I will need to essentially like try to frame like basically like become a very compelling option for people to come work with me, outside of people that are like people that I know and have worked with before in some capacity, but even for those people were also people that were working and like big tech, and so I need to sort of frame it in a way that is most compelling with them. And I think just like saying, oh, you will get like this humongous amount of equity, and even if like, oh, you will also get like $500K a base salary, is not going to be sufficient, because of the fact that I don't think I'm quote unquote like clouded or whatever. Like, even if I paid you a shit ton of money and say the company folds, then their future earnings potential, because this wasn't like the narrative / hype thing, gets hamstrung probably. So you discount that $500K you earn in that particular year, because all the other years you sort of don't get as much, because they'll be like, oh, we haven't fucking heard of that. I don't know anyone that worked there, etc. So I think I basically need to recalibrate like the strategy of how we get visibility in both tech circles and also, just consumer adoption, because we also are like a product that we're advertising to other engineers. The equity is a product for them. The product that we're working on is the product for them, and we need to make it a really compelling and cool place to work at. So yeah, that's what I was thinking about today. And then obviously I took like a fucking long ass nap. So I'm gonna go to bed today, right now. Hopefully wake up at like 7:30 tomorrow, and then fucking just grind city tomorrow. I better get let's fuck it. Let's say 500 stocks tomorrow. 500 stocks tomorrow, or I'm a loser. So keep me honest here. Talk to you tomorrow. See ya. Bye.